Pat Walker here with Mission Winners. It is Sunday and once again time to dive into the ETFs and MAXLIST stocks. So we look at ARK Innovation, ARKK, weekly on the left, daily on the right, and it's just basing. It needs to push over that line, okay? It's lagging at this point in time just a little bit, but we'll watch and see what happens. It's a decent base. Let's continue onwards. And the next one is ARK Next Generation Internet. And there's a downward sloping trend line here on the daily, and you can see there's a downward sloping trend line. I'll draw this for you just to help. On the weekly. Can it take that out? Possibly. It's something maybe to look into. Say, oh, so maybe this could be a buy? Yes, but you could also punch up ARKW and see what their top 10 holdings are and see if there's something in there that may be an opportunity. ARKW. And this is what we do in Mission Winners. We systematize. Let's continue onwards. Biotechnology, it's kind of sloppy there, okay? It's okay, but nothing great. It's not a simple chart pattern, so I'd be a little cautious with biotechnology. The trend is up though, okay? Let me clarify. It's not in a downtrend, it's trending up. Just hard to find an entry spot on this, but maybe there's some entry spots on the biotechnology stocks. Cloud computing, similar situation. Decent cup and a handle forming right here on the daily and also on the weekly. Now, it did fall on fairly heavy volume here. You see that on the daily? And it's lifting up, but note, the buying volume is dramatically less than the selling volume. So it's going to need some real power taking out this line up top, okay? Cloud computing, it's an okay group. Not a leader per se, but an okay. Now, energy, look at this. Compare and contrast. Well, that one doesn't look too bad approaching that line. That's nothing there. That's exactly right. See, this really helps us. What does that say? I pretty much avoid energy stocks. There you go. Move on. Don't have to overthink it. Just wait. Dow Jones Internet. Okay, First Trust Dow Jones Internet. Basing across here, and I'll change this line to help you. Simple bases are the best setup to make money. Why? They're easy to see. If they're easy to see for us, they're easy to see for other people. If that's the case, it increases the probability that more people see it, which therefore by default, more people will buy it, right? Common sense. Most people never really think this through. We do in Mission Winners. Clean base right here, Internet, possibly taking out these tops. You could also punch up FDN and see is there anything in that group that might be a candidate on FDN for a buy. Systematize, love it. Let's continue onwards. Here we go. IBD 50 is lifting up a little bit, but it's still lagging. I mean, look at the weekly. It's still underperforming, okay? So just, not a lot of power there, but there are select stocks in the IBD 50 that are picking up, okay? Just for what it's worth. Look at gold miners picking up here. GDX going across these tops. It actually broke out on decent volume on Friday. A little bit extended because there was a gap up here and a gap up there. You have to be a little careful with it, but the trend is up. So what does that tell us? Maybe looking at some gold mining stocks. There you go. Opposite sides of the same coin. Oh, look at this. Junior gold miners picking up also. Maybe looking at the smaller gold mining stocks. That helps us. Areas to look. And now look at gold. Been picking up across this base, and I'll draw this for you. We'll just continue it on just to make it easy. That's close enough. And it's working. We own GLD. And it's trending. Where's it going to go? I don't know. We'll just let it work until it stops. That's all. That's it. We don't have to forecast. This is something very important in Mission Winners, and I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing this since the late 1980s. I managed a ton of money through the crash of 87. Here's the scoop, folks. Let price and volume tell you what to do. It will really help you. And study the chart patterns. They'll tell you a lot. So just get in line with it. We teach this all the time. Cybersecurity, it's picking up a little bit, but it's got a long ways to go to get up to this spot here, okay? So kind of loose. I'd be careful with cybersecurity. Done. Let's move on. Biotech's picking up. It's a little bit loose. It needs to really take across this line here. It's got to go up quite a bit more just to get to it. So it's improving, but it's not great. One saving grace is note on the weekly chart. This is why we look at weeklies. Up on heavier volume than it fell on the week before. There we go. I would love this if it would base out and form a cleaner shelf right up here. So we'll watch and see what happens. Nothing to do with it at this moment, okay? There we go. Retailing. Online retail's picked up a little bit. What's in online retail? Oh, there's that little company. What's it called again? Oh, yeah, Amazon. That's a chunk of this, okay? It's picking up, but notice, no real volume here, okay? Not a lot of conviction on that, okay? Continue onwards. Oil and gas exploration, stay away. Done. I mean, look at the daily, downtrend, weekly, downtrend. Move on to the next one. There's better fish to fry. Here we go. Now look at this base. Do a compare and contrast. Well, this is in a downtrend here, and it's in a downtrend here. Oh, this one's basing here, and it's basing here. Software technology, IGV. I like the base that's formed here. We'll do this to help. There's a base right there. Draw it for you. And that works. Close enough. Take that top out there. This could be a potential buy, but it also tells you something else. Maybe look into some software stocks. Isn't that neat? That's what we do. IGV. And you can punch up IGV and get their top 10 holdings on Google. It'll take all of, gosh, probably 10 seconds. And then you'll have a better idea than most people. This is what we teach. Here we go. Medicine's hanging in okay. All right, US medicine. Decent base here on the weekly and on the daily. This is why I like to look at both. You look at the daily and say, it looks all right there. But you look at the weekly and go, oh, that was a nice longer base. There we are. A little bit extended, so just be a little cautious with that. This is loose. You can see, look at the weekly, look at it's loose. All right, mid cap. Tells you to be really careful with mid cap stocks. Let's move on. Aerospace and defense is picking up, but it's kind of loose too. All right. There's no real clean entry on it at this point in time, but it looks okay. It's trending up. There's just no clean entry at this moment. You could punch up ITB though, or ITA, and you may find a stock that looks good in that group. There we go, systematized. Home construction's picking up. I like the tops across here on ITB. You know, they're talking about interest rates. Folks, this is how and why we connect the dots at Mission Winners. Do interest rates have a profound impact on home building, home stocks? You're darn right they do. They're talking about maybe lowering interest rates, and it's having a direct impact on home construction, forecasting the future. Maybe it's going to go across these tops right here on ITB. Something to watch this week. Let's move on. Excuse me. Growth, IBW, iShares growth, picking up here a little bit. Clean tops across there. You see that on the daily? And it's just telling us it's starting to improve. It says the rally's decent. There we go. I like that. Continue on. Small caps, IWM, not as much power, okay? This is the Russell 500. This is the S&P 500 growth. This is the IWM index, Russell 2000. It's picking up, but it's still not near a breakout spot. But note, it is picking up on steadily increasing volume. What does that tell us? The rally's spreading out a little bit. Just building conviction. That helps. It's good to know these things. Real estate. I just talked about it a little bit ago. Think about this, folks. Most of you probably own house or houses, are looking to buy. Do you like to see good mortgage rates? Yeah. Lower interest rates? Yeah. Well, guess what? This is showing that. All right. And it's having a profound impact or direct impact on real estate. There we go. That's connecting the dots. We teach that at Mission Winners. Transportation's got a top across here. It looks okay, just taking this out. Some accumulation, some distribution. You can see these tops, and I'll draw the line to help you. You could punch up IYT and look at what their top 10 holdings are. Just simple tops. That's it. It's nothing fancy. Focus on simplicity, folks. You'll do better. Jets, airlines picking up, but there's no real clean entry right there. Maybe it'll form a handle. Just have to watch it and see what happens. Banks, they're kind of lagging. Be careful there, okay? Not a lot of power. Decent on the weekly, but there's no clean entry on the daily. All right, so just be careful with the banks. Let's move on. Insurance picking up a little bit. It's trending up. It's okay. No real clean entry there, but it is trending up. Here we go. Regional banking's picking up some, but it's lagging. So be careful with that, regional banks. Mid-cap's picking up a little bit. That's nice to see. There's no real clean entry, but it does tell us that the rally's spread out, a little picking up in the mid-caps too. That's nice to see. This is the beautiful part of Mission Winners. We don't have to forecast. The charts will tell us where there's strength and where there's weakness, where there's opportunity, but also where there's areas to stay away. And that helps us a lot. So there's home builders. Look at that. Here's the weekly tops. And you can see it's the same line. Excuse me. It's the same line on the daily. I want to share this with you to help everybody. I've done a tremendous amount of research on this, okay? Please protect your eyes. This is a great high resolution contrast, and the darker color in the background is easier on your eyes. You're not looking at a light bulb all day. This works great. I'm not telling you what to do, but I am asking you, please take care of your eyes. It's very important, and it's not just because we look at charts. It's your eyes. So there we are. That doesn't look too bad. It'd be nice if it could form a little handle right here and then take off. But it does tell us home builders, they're picking up. That's another home building stock or a home building ETF. There you go. It has moved quite a bit though, just to get to the pivot, right? Things gone up about 18 points from here just to get to the pivot. So be aware of that, right? Oil services, there's nothing there. Leave it alone. Pharmaceuticals picking up a little bit, but not a lot of power. Lilly's a major portion of that, okay? Some pick up, but not great. You see this run right through here? Punch up LLY, which we owned, and you'll see why this did what it did. Not a clean, super clean entry there, so just move on. QLD, NASDAQ 100's picking up a little shelf right here, as you can see. I'll draw it just to help. There we go. Take these tops out here. Had good volume here. Best thing this could do is base a couple of more days and then take off. But it shows that the things are picking up a little bit in the NASDAQ 100. We like that. Same thing's true with QQQ. That's non-leverage. Retail's picked up a little bit here. Look at the weekly. What do you see here? Watch you, but I see a cup and a handle. There you go. It picked up. Now, the volume is picking up gradually, but it's not super explosive volume. Also, I have to share something, and this is important. At Mission Winners and at the IBD meetups, I used to teach this. Read the chart carefully. Look at it closely. When you see a lot of price gaps, there's a gap here, there's a gap here, there's a gap here, there's one here, and here, and here. I'm not being funny, I'm being serious. Here. Be careful when things trade with a lot of gaps. You get caught on the wrong side, it can really sting. Also, ties it into that lesson. This stock doesn't do much volume each day, okay? It does very low volume, average daily volume. Low volume stocks have a tendency to be more gappy, more choppy. Be aware of that. Just a little bit of knowledge for you. Cloud computing's picking up a little bit. Look at the weekly and daily. That's not too bad. Like to see that. You could punch up SKYY and see what they own. How about that? There you go. Write that one down just for things to watch. We are always prepared. We always have a plan. Let's move on. Silver's picking up there a little bit, kind of gappy, okay? But what does it tell you? Oh, it's strengthening on the weekly, it's strengthening on the daily, and maybe looking at some silver stocks. There you go. I like that. Steel is lagging, not a lot of power there. Stay away from steel. Semiconductors picking up, but still lagging, not a lot of power there. Needs to push through the 50-day. Until then, be a little cautious with semiconductors. See that neat? Same thing's true with SOXL. Spider's picking up. Look at this base on the daily. And guess what? We can draw it on the weekly. And it's nothing fancy, folks. Simple base. Everybody can see it. Just take out these tops and do it with volume, maybe by spiders or S&P 500 stocks. It's telling you, this is telling us that the S&P 500 is doing okay. There we go. Let's move on. SSO, same situation, picking up across these tops. Get rid of that downward sloping line right there. And we'll do this. There you go. What's it need to do? Just take out that line with volume. That's all. If it does, it could be a potential buy. Something to watch. SSO. Solar lagging. I mean, look at this. Look at the weekly. In 1 second, it says, I'm staying away from solar stocks. Isn't that powerful? Think about that. It's good to know what to look for in stocks. You know what industries or what sectors to look at or concentrate on, and things to avoid. I'd rather have a small list of great stuff than look at a million different things and a lot of it's marginal. At this time, this is marginal. Leave it alone. Small caps lagging, leave it alone. Oil services. United States oil, lagging, leave it alone. That's it. Don't overthink it. Aerospace and defense picking up a little bit, but kind of choppy. It's in an uptrend, but there's no real clean entry there. Something to be cautious of. Biotechnology picking up a little bit. Downward sloping trend line. I'm going to show you a good lesson right here. Right in there. You can do it right there. Close enough. By the way, this is not rocket science. It's just a simple trend line. If it pierces through there, that would be good. What do you notice? Oh, volume's gradually picking up on the daily. Be aware though, this is biotechnology. And so when it's good, it's good. And when it's bad, watch out. Okay, just need to share that with you. So a little loose in here. Be cognizant of that. Let's continue onwards. Home builders picking up a little bit. We talked about falling interest rates. Home building. There's tops across here. And I'll show you what you can do here. You just go this way. And what do you notice? It's picked up on steadily increasing volume. Go across these tops. Maybe a buy. This is the daily. Look at the weekly. Look at the weekly volume pickup. See, that's the things we look at. Down and dirty, real quick. Let's go. Materials picking up a little bit. How do you build houses with materials? Picking up, but not a really clean entry on there. Communications picking up, but it's awfully loose. Be careful with that. Energy's lagging. Look at that. I just showed you a bunch of ETFs that don't look too bad. Look at this. What does that say? In 1 second, I'm staying away from energy. That's awesome to know. Areas to focus on and areas to avoid. Let's move on. Financials kind of loose there. It's okay, but not really powerful up. Industrials picking up a little bit. Look at that. XLI. And yeah, industrial stocks. That's nice to know. Maybe you punch up XLI, look at the top 10 holdings, you might find something that's good. Again, systematize. This stuff works. XLK's picking up a little bit. Technology, we'd like to see some more power on this, okay? But it is improving a little bit. So something, there's no real entry on this at this point in time. So you just have to watch. But it does tell us technology's improving a little bit. Consumer staples, look at that. Look at that nice move. It's been trending nicely. It's a little extended now, so be cautious with it if you own it, okay? In fact, if you do own it, you could sell some into strength. There we are. Utilities grinding up. Let me think here. Utilities. Oh, yeah, they're interest rate sensitive too. Oh, what was the other group we were looking at that's home? Yeah, home builders, interest rate sensitive. You see how you connect the dots? At Mission Winners, this is what we do. This is picking up. Now, it's extended to buy and price, but it's telling us that interest rates are soft. They're getting weaker. They're dropping. And that helps us. Forecasting that, okay? Healthcare, a little loose there. No real clean entry. Be careful with that. Consumer discretionary picking up a little bit. No real clean entry. But the consumer's buying. They're buying consumer stocks. You can see it. Good to see. Metals and mining lagging. Stay away. Oil, gas. Look at that. I mean, do a compare and contrast with some of them we saw. You go, look at that. Look at that. Weekly. That's awful. You're exactly right. What does it say? Stay away from oil and gas energy. Done. Retail's picking up, but it's still lagging. Be careful with that. Software's basing there. There's a line here. And I'll do this for us. Kind of a cup with a handle. It's got a ways to go to get up there, okay? But software's improving a little bit. Like to see that. And we go back up to the top with ARK Innovation. Anyway, that is an overview of the ETFs. What does it show us? Potential areas of strength that we could buy the ETF, or we could look for the leading stocks in that industry ETF. That's connecting the dots. Okay, so that was the ETFs. Now we dive into the MAXLIST stocks. But first, let me ask you, have you hit that subscribe button yet? We noticed that only about 40% of the viewers on our weekly videos are subscribed. If you have enjoyed this video so far, please hit the subscribe button. It is 100% free, and it helps us get more great videos to you. Oh yeah, the like button, also please do hit that. And if you have any questions, leave a comment below. Now let's get into the MAXLIST stocks. What do we see so far? The big stocks are leading. The big stocks. There we go. That's good to know. There's Apple. Support right here on the 50-day. Started to lift up on Friday, but never had any volume, and it faded off again. If this could push through right here, that line, that top on the daily, perhaps this will take off. But note, it's going to need volume. Now here's the plus. That's the daily. Here's the plus on the weekly. It lifted up a little bit, and it did have a volume pickup on the weekly. That's why we look at both weekly and daily. It helps us. So there's Apple. Let's continue onward. Amazon is owned. We own Amazon down lower, okay? And down in this area right here. We added to it, and it's working. So we'll watch and see what happens. Price alerts are set. Perhaps it will continue. We'll watch and see. We let price tell us what to do. The weekly shows a volume pickup also. Now, if you don't own it, I wouldn't buy it here. Okay, it's a little bit extended. Just giving you a heads up. Okay, this is a lesson for everybody, and I've been doing this for a long time. Folks, don't chase price. Please buy right or don't buy at all. Chasing price can lead to larger losses, and you don't want that. Alibaba's picking up, but gosh, it's awfully choppy, back and forth. I mean, look at the gap. You know, there's a gap here, there's a gap here, there's a gap here, there's one here, there's here, over and over. But you look at the chart and you say, it's choppy here. But I look at the weekly, Pat, that doesn't look too bad. Going across, and I'll draw this for you, just to, excuse me, just to help you. There's the line. That line coincides, that would be the same line here. Possibly pushed through. Now, notice this. On this bar, I'm giving education here, okay? On this bar, you say, oh, that's a red bar on increasing volume. Note where it opened. I'm going to make this bigger. This is a good lesson. This is what we teach. It opened here, and it closed above where it opened. Folks, it opened, it fell, and it closed in the top third of its range on a pickup in volume. They bought that bar. Now, it didn't follow through, but it did support here, and now it's starting to pick up on a slight pickup in volume. What's it need to do? Take out that top right there and do it with volume on the weekly, but also on the daily. There you go. Just giving you a good lesson right here. This is what we do. We teach. Admission winners, we give ideas. We help people make money. We make a list every night for them called the key list, and we teach just to help. BIDU, on the other hand, looks awful. I mean, look at this. Well, that doesn't look too bad near those tops. There's nothing there. Leave it alone. Don't overthink it. There's nothing there. Move on to the next one. That's easy. Google's still underperforming, okay? This needs to show some power here, maybe through the 21-day, but it's a real underperformer at this point in time. Now, I'm not writing it off. Don't think that. It's Google. It will turn, but is this a high probability entry here? Not really. It's a little tougher. And you can see, just looking at the weekly chart and the daily chart, there's a lot of distribution there. Just tells you to be a little cautious. Let's move on. Meta is basing here on the daily, basing here on the weekly. You can see this line right here. I'm going to draw it. There you go. What does it need to do? It needs to, this is the daily chart, take out that line right there and do it with really good volume. We need to see volume. Now here's the plus. Looking at the weekly, you can see it lifted up on a slight pickup in volume. That's a good thing. So we'll watch this and see what happens on Meta. All right, one to watch. Yes, and it's a MAXLIST stock. Love them. Continue onwards. Microsoft's picking up here a little bit. As you can see, pushed above this line. Okay, lifting up there. Some people bought it through here. Looks okay. It's a little bit extended, but on the daily, could you add to it? Yes, this is one to watch. I would watch this. This is a good base across here on the daily and the weekly. So, but don't chase price. This is for everybody. Please strive to buy close to the pivot or don't buy at all. Don't chase price. It will open yourself up to larger losses, and you don't want that, okay? Admission winners, we're very focused. We're very disciplined on what to buy and where to buy. Let's move on. Here we go. Goldman Sachs is pretty sloppy here. There's just nothing there. I mean, look, that thing fell on heavy volume 4 days ago, and it's rallying up on decreasing volume. It's below the 50-day. There's just really nothing there. Just don't overthink it. It's not there. Move on. Done. Here we go. MasterCard steadily grinding up. There was a nice weekly setup right here that's steadily grinding. It's a little bit extended now. There's no real clean entry on it, so I wouldn't chase price up here. There we go. Netflix. Now, I like Netflix. I'm going to clean this line up here a little bit. You can see right here on the weekly, I'll draw this just to help. There's a line right there on the weekly. And it coincides, I'll draw the same thing on the daily. That's pretty close right there. What does it need to do? Take out this line and do it on really heavy volume. And key on the daily chart primarily, okay? Weekly, it might take too long for that volume to come in to see it on the weekly volume bar, but you can see it on the daily. Again, downward sloping trend line, take out this line with volume. There you go. No volume, no buy. That's simple. NVIDIA starting to pick back up again. NVIDIA was a beast for us right in here, folks. This was on the key list back here, around 51 bucks a share. That was a really good move. We added to it, bought it here, added to it. That worked out okay. So here it is now. Let's refresh the chart, go back. It's kind of loose on the weekly, as you can see, chopping around, kind of loose on the daily, but it did push through the 50-day, went up to it on a close, almost touched it on Thursday. Decent volume on Friday, pushing through here. It's a little loose here, but if this market heats up, this could follow through. This is something you could watch. So what would be our entry? Well, I'm going to show you a great tactic we teach. Here's the 10-minute chart. You can see that base on 10. Take it to 30-minute. There's a base right here on 30-minute. Here's the hourly. And you can say, oh, there's a base right there on, and I'll draw this for you to help you. Right in there. Simple flat base. Love them. But here's the kicker. Do you see what it did on the first hourly bar? It gapped up and ran up and closed near the lows on a pickup in volume. It was when that was selling. So what do we do in a situation like that? That's why we do what we do. For us to buy, we need to see this push through these tops here with volume and a good market. If it doesn't happen, don't buy it. Don't force buys. That'll help you a lot. Tesla. I like this base on Tesla. Tesla's been good for us. You see that buyback here in June? That was owned. That's the weekly. There's the daily. See that simple flat base? See the volume that came into it? Buys in here around one, we'll call it 192. 192 up to, I don't know, 270. That was on the key list. Now, we didn't sell at the top, okay? But you know what? That's what we do at Mission Winners. Clean and simple bases everybody can see. Increases the potential for making money. Now, you're looking right here and you can say, well, what do you see here? Watch this. There's the weekly, and here's the daily. Simple base. What does it need to do? It needs to push through that line right here, and it needs to do it with really good volume. That's what we're looking for, and we're always prepared at Mission Winners. And then Visa moving up here, it's owned. Okay, there's really nothing to do with it at this time. Just let it work. All right, team, that's our weekly review. Hope it helps you get a clearer picture of where the market's headed and what stocks to keep an eye on. By the way, don't forget about our weekly top stocks to have on your watch list video coming out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you're curious about what we covered last week, you can find the link to that video in the top right corner. Remember, these watch list videos are just a small taste of what our VIP members get with the daily key list videos on missionwinners.com. So if you're serious about finding those super performance stocks, consider joining us. Now, I'm curious to hear from you. What are your thoughts on today's market review? Do you have any questions or concerns? Feel free to drop a comment below. I love hearing from you. Thanks for sticking around for the whole video. If you liked it, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. And remember, stay sharp, keep learning, and keep finding those winners.